There are many places in Europe where spiritualism is very, very well accepted and very well known. There are places, particularly in South America, where spiritism, which is very close, is the religion. We wouldn't be here today if we didn't have strong thoughts, strong ideas, strong conviction in what we believe, what we teach, and what we preach, and what we share with others. Just by being here, you are demonstrating that you do think, you do question, you do discuss, you do explore to find the answers. So is it a stretch then to think that we would not also be individuals who would speak up for what is right? It's not always easy. I understand that. Boy, do I understand that. It's our obligation. It is our obligation as citizens, and it's our obligation as spiritual men and women. Now, we can't do it for someone else. We can't tell someone else, you have to do this or you cannot do that. Oh, we'd like to. We might try. But we can be responsible for ourselves. So that if someone tells us a juicy morsel of gossip, we can say, you know, I've always thought highly of that person, and I'd rather not hear this. Better still, if someone tells you a juicy piece of gossip, say, wow, I never thought about that. Why don't you and I have a meeting with that person and let's talk about it? Watch how quickly that person will say, oh no, oh no, 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 no. If they're not prepared to confront the individual they're saying things about, then they shouldn't be saying it. Right?
Right.
And this is, again, in our churches, our schools, our neighborhoods, our families. It's fun to feel like you know something and somebody else doesn't and you can't wait to share it. But think about it. You are adding something to that person. You could see that person, visualize that individual in your mind. Now you can either put on that person a sticky note shaped like a heart, signifying love, or you can make a little mud pie and stick that on them too. Would you rather find yourself covered with little sticky notes that are heart-shaped, or would you rather have blobs of mud in your face and your hair and your clothing? And you might just as well do it literally if you're going to do it verbally, because words matter. They have tremendous power, and they have good power and not so good power. You know, you can tell someone something unique to them, something good, and it can change that person's day. It can change that person's week. It can change that person's feelings about themselves. There are so many wonderful people in this world that go through life very quietly, doing all that they can to make the world a better place. And they don't do it for pats on the back. They don't do it for a lot of recognition. There are people who would be very uncomfortable if they were singled out with a lot of attention. And yet they do these gracious, loving things on a daily basis. When you notice someone like that, You don't need to embarrass them in front of everyone, but you can say, I've noticed. I've noticed. And that means the world to that individual. It's encouraging. It's encouraging. And we all know wonderful people like that, and they set a beautiful example. You know, just as sometimes as parents, we don't necessarily say it, but we're thinking when we're giving direction to our children, you know, do as I say. Well, we know what kind of a message that is if we don't do as we say. It's a very mixed message. And each one of us doesn't need a child to make that same point. It's when you're dealing with anyone else that you know. Total strangers, family, friends, acquaintances, co-workers. Don't be one of those people that says, do as I say. Demonstrate it. Every now and then, somebody has to catch me short and remind me. And ouch, that stings. But you know what? I know they're doing it because they love me. They're not going off and telling everybody else, you know, Reverend Jeannie really messed up. They come and tell me. And sometimes it does kind of, ouch. It's like a sand spur. But I know they tell me because they love me. And they want me to be aware of how other people have perceived my words or my actions. So we owe it to one another to be honest. We owe it to one another to be loving and supportive. Focus on the positive, not the negative. Do your part to make this world a better place. Thank you.